They do not want an experienced professional in the middle of their negotiation so that they can make all of the best options for themselves.
Yeah. So that Schedule A is important because it outlines what is the agent actually going to do for you. Are they going to show you properties? Are they going to negotiate contracts? Are they going to send the documents to the lawyers, or is that handled by you if there's limited services?
As prices increase, it gets harder and harder to come up with the down payment. There's all sorts of different reasons, financial reasons, that everybody's, grabbing at different straws and trying to figure out how to make the deal work. So it's up to you. Like your clients are hiring you to have tough conversations on your behalf, so you need to have them on your own behalf as well. Welcome to the TNT Real Estate Podcast, where we spark conversations that set you up for real estate success. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Tanya, and each week we bring you expert tips on navigating Northern Ontario's real estate market. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, we've got the tools to help you thrive.
Welcome back to the TNT Real Estate Podcast. I'm Tanya, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Tyler. Tyler, big news this week in real estate, in the world of real estate. Yeah. And this podcast is kind of geared towards real estate agents, so maybe we can talk a little bit about...
Yeah, it's agents and consumers. We don't really have a good niche. Maybe we should tighten that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
We're a little all over the place.
Yeah, a huge acquisition. Real broker, I guess that's the full name of it. Real broker acquired RE/MAX.
RE/MAX Holdings, like international.
Yeah, the whole
shebang.
The whole shebang. It's huge. I mean, $880 million deal.
Including $330 million in debt.
Yeah, RE/MAX. I feel like, based on the stock and based on what all the experts were saying, it sounded like they were in trouble, which is, I feel like, odd maybe for a company of that size. But
it's not odd for a company of that size, right? Like a lot of overhead, a lot of VPs, a lot of travel, a lot of expenses. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not well versed in billion-dollar companies.
No, me neither.
But yeah. I mean, huge. And I feel like there's all sorts of opinions. Like there's the RE/MAXers that have been around for 40 years that hate anything technologically advanced, which Real is. It's a huge tech company. There's the cloud brokerage versus brick and mortar debate that's going on right now. Like what's going to happen? It sounds like everything's kind of just going to stay as is. RE/MAX is still going to be brick and mortar. Real is still going to be cloud-based,
right?
Basement-based.
But I would assume if you're going to assume another company, purchase another company, you're going to want that company to make money for you rather than to be sort of losing money. So there'll be some kind of changes, I assume, on the horizon.
My one final thing I'll say about this: somebody did a TikTok or Reel or whatever it is, and kind of talked about the way real estate should have been or should be done is like brick and mortar. So kind of realized that there is, importance of having agents come together and, be in the same office and share ideas instead of working from home or working in the basement or working in a broom closet, wherever it is. And I feel like they're realizing I think it's a brilliant acquisition for Real, because now they have probably the most offices around the world in real estate. And I think they realize that, that the cloud-based is maybe the future, but there's a ton of wealth sitting in those offices. That's my take. That's a
good zip for that.
Right.
For that topic, because we're not very well versed in what's going on exactly, and most of it is speculation.
Yeah, we're just doing our thing, teaching our agents to do a great job, which they are, and doing a great job ourselves.
That's all we can do.
Okay,
so today we're going to be talking about buyer agency agreements.
Yeah.
So that's a contract that a purchaser of a property will be signing with their real estate agent. Right. So we're going to go into a little bit more details than you might be familiar with.
Yeah, I feel like, the conversation comes up more this time of year because we're in the spring market. People are going to be signing stuff. People are rushing around. They're trying to see listings. Some listings have offer dates. Some of them are, you put on an offer anytime. Some of them have 48 hours. And it seems like documents like this that are very, very important get kind of skipped and overlooked until, you know, the DocuSign comes in or the AuthentiSign comes in, and it's, first of all, sign this buyer agent agreement. The next email I'm going to send you is the offer that you're going to sign. So it's like, okay, in the buyer's mind, they're saying, okay, we just have to sign this.
Just a formality.
Just a formality, so we can put in the offer. Like, okay, but like let's just do it because we don't want to lose the house. Because deadlines come, you know, people start to rush. But it's very, very important that buyers and agents understand on the agent side what they're getting the buyers to sign, and then also on the buyers what they are signing.
You and I both agree that this document is so important for people to understand. So why don't we go into a little bit more detail? Tell me a bit more about what exactly is the buyer representation agreement.
Right. Okay, so the buyer representation agreement is an agreement between the buyer and the brokerage that the agent works for, and then the agent is going to be your representative. Now, it's changed when REBA, the Real Estate Business Brokers Act, became the TRESA, which is the Trust in Real Estate
Services Act. Yes.
So that came into effect 2 years ago. It is still a mouthful to say either way. But yeah, so you used to have two options. You could have been a customer or you could have been a client back in the day. Now you're either a client or you're a self-represented party. So they kind of took the option off to be a customer, which is, I'm not going to go in, but so you're either self-represented, which means you can buy a property from an agent, but they give you no strategy. They cannot help you. They cannot give you any services. You're basically buying it by yourself. The other way is to become a client, which is you're a full client, which means they owe you a legal obligation, a fiduciary obligation. They are your agent. They have to look out for you.
Okay. What is the difference between, like, we often see agents showing properties to prospective buyers, prospective clients, or maybe not even clients yet. So what's the difference between, say, a showing with your agent versus signing an agreement with your agent?
Right. So, I mean, the differentiator is the representation. So representation starts when you start strategizing, when you, like, I mean, a showing could be, you know, you open the door and you look around and you talk about paint colors and you talk about if your couch fits here. But then when you start strategizing on, you know, the offer, we start strategizing on how to get out of your house so you can put an offer on this, or do you need to sell, or do you need to buy first, advocating on your client's best interests. That's when the representation starts, and that's when the buyer representation agreement should be signed, if not before.
Yes. So it seems that it's the key element is when you start giving advice and start strategizing and talking about their own situations, that it becomes then representation, which should be documented. So can you just tour houses without selling one, though? Not selling one, signing. Can you just tour houses without signing an agreement?
Yeah. I mean, the best business practice is to have it signed. But yeah, no, you can definitely tour houses without one being signed. It's just, you need to have, you know, I guess we're going to get into it a little bit later, but there's a RECO information guide that needs to be given to your client or given to your prospective client as early as possible. And that kind of outlines that, you know what, and you know, when it came in, it's 13 pages of big colorful pictures and font and stuff. And a lot of agents are like, oh, we're going to have to print this 13-page document out. And, you know, it's going to be such a nuisance to do, but it really does all of your talking points for you. It explains everything that they're going to see in the buyer representation agreement when it gets signed. And so I think it's great. You have a couple copies in your car when you meet somebody new, you give it to them, or, you know, email it to them. Yeah.
I'm a huge believer in the RECO Information Guide. I think, like you said, it just explains everything in layman's terms. It's very easy to understand. It's nicely broken up into what buyers should look for, what sellers should look for, what to do in multiple representation situations. You know, before you get into that situation where the agent is representing both parties, having a clear understanding of your rights, your responsibilities, the agent's responsibilities towards you is so important. And I found that was always one of the harder discussions for our agents to have, is what does representation mean? What does it mean that you're representing the seller, but you're also going to represent me, the buyer? Is that a conflict of interest? Well, yes, we're going to go through what exactly that conflict would be. But having that conversation was a bit tougher, especially for maybe agents who don't encounter that situation all the time,
right.
especially new agents for sure. And in this case, like you said, it's super easy guide. It's lengthy, but your clients, prospective clients, can read it right away. So have it ready to go. There's also even a printable version that doesn't have as many pretty pictures,
right, but
a little easier to print.
Yeah, I think it's smart for sure. And so you kind of went through what's in there, but let's go back to the buyer representation agreement. Let's talk about the form itself, and let's get into the 4 major things that we would say that people have to look out for or they should know about. And the first one is length. So what's a typical length? Like is somebody going to sign you in for? There's
no typical length.
Right.
You can talk to your agent about this. Your agent can have a standard practice that they, perform. And the agent might have a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 6 month or more length of contract. It depends on so many factors. I would say, personally in my business, if it's a new relationship, I don't usually sign up for more than 3 months. 2 to 3 months is typical. I understand that and talk to my clients. I say it's a mutual commitment to one another. I'm committing to you as much as you're committing to me. I think that's very important. Sometimes if it's a more complicated situation, you're looking for something very, very niche and specific, you might benefit from a 6 month or 1 year representation agreement with your agent because they're going to be looking for something very specific and finding those sources for a length of time that, it's probably realistically going to take you to find that property. Right. So it really depends on, I think, the type of property, the client's comfort, your comfort as their agent as well, and their advocate.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think in terms of the length? What should it be?
From the practitioner, it depends. I would say like 6 months to. Honestly, it depends. So you need to have the conversation with your buyer. But I like signing them for 6 months. And if somebody questions that, it's like, I want to be able to work at my full potential for my buyers. And I can't do that when I'm under the gun with a month. If my client is moving to town and they have 1 month to get into a house or they're homeless, okay, we're going to do that in a month. We're going to work together as hard as possible. But if you're looking for your dream home and it's going to take us a long time because you're going to be very picky about it, I don't want to have to worry about you potentially, like me, spending all this time doing the research, knocking on doors, pounding the pavement, working on your behalf, and then there comes a time where you buy it with somebody else. So that's the importance of it for an agent side and a buyer side. On the buyer side, it's like lots of buyers just think that you're signing into an agreement with that person for their benefit so they can get paid. But it's really like you can hold up that contract after it's signed and say, listen, you are my agent. You find me this house or find me this property or find me this restaurant space, whatever it is. You also have your agent also has
like a duty?
A duty for to perform.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about another element on the buyer representation contract, which is the exclusivity. Right. What does that mean?
Okay, so it's basically the term.
Is it like dating? Is it like we're exclusive?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so, it basically is that you as the agent and the buyer are exclusive to each other. Not really on the buyer or the agent side because they can work with a bunch of people, but you have exclusivity. So whenever there's a real estate something that comes up, even if it's off market, if it's on market, you have a duty to call that agent. They will represent you and it doesn't matter. Like lots of people think if you buy something off the market on Facebook Marketplace that an agent can't work in your best interest, but there's always ways to have representation and. We had this conversation a couple days ago where there's buyers now on Facebook or Kijiji that are like, we're looking for a house in the valley for $500,000 and we don't want to deal with an agent on the listing side or the buyer side, and it always works out. And I caution sellers from contacting those people because they are often they are looking for a deal. They do not want an experienced professional in the middle of their negotiation so that they can make all of the best options for themselves.
Yeah. It's definitely one-sided if you have sort of a stipulation that you don't want to work with any agents. But at the same time, often buyers have their own representation. So even a self-represented seller, we talked about self-representation at the beginning of this. A self-represented seller can put their home on the market and represent themselves, but most buyers will have agents, especially first-time buyers, because they're getting that expertise, they're getting the advice and the market information that the agent has.
Right. Yeah, and I mean it's the most valuable part of this whole working with a realtor is the experience, the advice that they offer, the strategies that they've seen before, they've executed before. That's why you hire
an agent. Okay, so talking about hiring, let's talk about the cost of hiring a real estate agent. A lot of people have a hard time talking about money, what their time is worth, and how much they're going to get paid. So walk me through a little bit of how does commission work?
Yeah, so typically the seller's brokerage will offer a commission to the buyers, or buyer brokerage, I should say, or buyer's agent. Now it goes through the brokerage, and then the buyer's agent gets paid from that. But it depends on what's in this buyer representation agreement. So if you sign into an agreement with an agent for, let's say, 2.5%, 2%, 3%, whatever it is, which is negotiable, by the way, so on the listing, I should kind of back up a little bit. On the listing side, the listing agent or the listing agreement will be able to tell you, okay, we're offering 2%, 2.5%, 3% on this listing. But if you're in contract with a number that's lower or higher, I guess, than that amount that they're offering, you may be on the hook to pay that additional cost. Now, the majority of agents, if you're, let's say they're offering 2% and you're in contract for 2.5%, some of them might not worry about it and just say, the 2% is fine. I'm not going to worry about it. This is, it's good. Some of them, depending on who you work with, might, bite back a little bit and say, you owe me that to make up the difference.
That's where I think the communication is very important between the agent and their client. So, for example, let's say I have signed my client up to a buyer representation agreement at 2.5%, and then this property is offering 2% commission. I have a duty to tell that buyer, this is the situation we're in right now, right? You have an obligation for 2.5%. These guys are willing to pay for 2%. Do I, as the agent, say, look, let's amend the buyer agency contract to go for 2%. I don't want to ask you for extra money when the deal is done. That's an option. Or I, as your agent, might also say, look, they're offering 2%. If you want my fee to be fully covered in this, then therefore we're going to ask for 2.5%. These are just examples, by the way. None of this commission talk is anything that is, standard or anything like that, right? Everything is always negotiable and between the practitioner and their clients. But I think that's where it's important to tell the clients we have a few options certainly available. And the agent will have the discussion with the client on that sort of commission difference. And it can be tough talking about these things, right? People have a hard time talking about getting paid, but as professionals, it's our job to educate our clients.
And I mean, as prices increase, it's, it gets harder and harder to come up with the down payment. There's all sorts of different reasons, financial reasons that everybody's, grabbing at different straws and trying to figure out how to make the deal work. So you're right. And I mean, if the agent is, like, for agents out there that might be listening, it's up to you. Like, your clients are hiring you to have tough conversations on your behalf. So you need to have them on your own behalf as well.
That's a really good point. They're hiring you. So what should a buyer ask their agent before signing the agreement?
So the biggest ones, I guess, what's the commission rate? What are we agreeing on as far as the commission? How much do I owe you at the end of the transaction? How long the transaction is going to be? Are we doing 3 months? Are we doing 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is? How long are we going to be working together? And just know, like, whatever answer that they give you should be in writing. And we have a very important addition as of 2 years ago, is the Schedule A of the buyer representation agreement. So anything that you want that's not in the standard clauses, and I mean, agents have a duty to have have, extra stuff in there, whatever they're going to do for you. But if you want something added, like if you want them to send you an email every Monday with the new listings from last week, you can add that in there. It's a conversation to have with your agent.
Yeah. If you need transportation to and from showings too, you might say, ask for a ride as part of your contract.
Must be
maybe
picked up in limo, stretch limo.
Champagne on ice. Ooh, always.
There you go.
Just kidding. But yeah, that Schedule A is important because it outlines what is the agent actually going to do for you. Are they going to show you properties? Are they going to negotiate contracts? Are they going to send the documents to the lawyers, or is that handled by you if there's limited services? Right. So that's a very important part of your contract.
So to recap, commission obviously is a big one, length of the term, exclusivity, and then one more that we're going to get into is holdover.
Yes, the holdover. What is the holdover clause? People have a hard time understanding that.
So any property that your agent, if you're in contract, if your agent brings you to a property or introduces that property to you, after the agreement is finished, let's say it's 6 months from January 1st to June 30th, if you see a property in there or they send you a property, they introduce it to you is what we call it. So let's say June 15th, after you know that your buyer representation agreement is signed, now the property is off market and it's on Kijiji, and you go and knock on the door and say, I saw your property a couple months ago, now I want to buy it. Let's skip the realtors. Your realtor, you are still on the hook to pay your realtor in that holdover period. So we have to make sure that you know how long that period is, whether it's 30 days, 90 days, a year, whatever it is. It's up to you and your agent, but it's very important that you know what that is and what the liabilities around that as well.
Yeah, it's really to protect the agent in this case, so that the buyer isn't tempted to wait out someone's contract to then go knock on the door and try to buy privately, right? Because the agent puts in a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort, educating the buyer, going out to view houses, negotiating contracts. So to be able to kind of like swoop in and do it without your agent representing you, because you think you're going to save money, is going to be in contrary to that contract. So that's very important to understand. But rarely does it happen.
I feel like most people are pretty straight up, and they can see the effort that the realtors are putting in to get them into all the houses and negotiate on their behalf. But so how does this play out? Like, how would you say this affects a smaller market like we're in?
Yeah, so it's a small community. We have 450 agents here in the Sudbury region,
right?
But probably 100 of those, I would sort of guess, would be the ones who are most active that we encounter every day. So that's even a smaller community. So we all know each other. We know when things, are happening. So certainly when it comes to the holdover provision, likely that buyer's agent's going to let the listing agent know, by the way, I showed my client that property and they went and bought it without me, that type of thing. So it is a small community, and we just need to work well together, I suppose, agents and clients. Yeah.
And I mean, if I'm like, I feel like that might happen when, the client is unhappy with how the realtor is performing in their job, or in their role, I guess. So it's on the client side, it's worth a conversation to your realtor as well, and like have that conversation and say, listen, like, we expected you to find us a house, or, we missed out on 3 houses that would have been perfect for us and we didn't see them. You're supposed to send them to us. So it's worth, like we've been saying all episode, it's all about communication, keeping the lines open. And when you have an issue, bring it up. Just say, you know what, I really wanted this to be a more streamlined process, or we really want to buy, like, we feel like you're not giving it your all. Yep. Give them that warning.
I've had that conversation with my clients before. They have called me and said, look, we feel like we've just kind of been, I don't know what they said exactly, but it was more just kind of felt like they didn't have the attention.
Right.
They weren't getting the attention that they were getting at the beginning, and I sort of dropped the ball on a few things, and I said, you know what? Give me a second chance. I'm going to step up. Yep. And I probably did. I think I left them on red, right? I didn't respond to their messages. Right. I probably got distracted and didn't think there was anything really to say, but there is something to say. There's something to say, I heard you, I understand. And it was fantastic. Actually, these clients, they did end up working with me. We were very successful. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you just need to be reminded. Yeah. And life happens, right? Sometimes things happen in an agent's personal life. Yep. So it's important for you to reach out to them and talk to them. And I'm sure everyone's human. They will turn around and do a great job for you.
I mean, I forget vulnerable here. I had one happen in my whole career, and it was 3 weeks after my daughter was born. Aww. And like they were like, this person really wanted to buy a house, and I was trying to give them the service, and I hadn't talked to them in like 2 weeks probably, because it was early childhood brain, and they texted me. They're like just want to let you know, we really want to we want to find a house. I think it was their mom's realtor or whatever is like we're gonna go start working with them. And I was like, you know what, like. It sucks, obviously, to have that happen, but I mean, obviously, family's most important, and I don't regret spending that time with their family. So it's like, all right, that's one I'll let go.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what, though, it doesn't stop you from continuing a relationship with those clients after the fact. They can still be your friends. Everyone can move on. Obviously, those times in your life are so important, and it's important to spend time with your kids, especially when they are babies.
Right. Okay, so let's go to rapid fire.
Forward.
Let's go to rapid fire. Let's go. I'm going to start.
You're going to start.
I'm going to start.
They're going to screw it all up.
Tanya, do I have to sign a BRA before any showing?
No, you do not have to sign a buyer rep, but you should get the RECO guide given to you by the agent when you get there.
That's fair.
Okay. This is a hard one. What is a self-represented party?
Somebody that works with an agent without being represented. So they're allowed to give you facts, but they're not allowed to give you service. So basically, if somebody walks into an open house and says, I'm a self-represented party, you're like, okay, this house is 3 bedrooms and there's 2 bathrooms, and feel free to walk around.
Yep,
They can't tell you what the house next door sold for. They can't tell you that they're looking at offers on a certain day. They can't tell you there's 10 offers on the house currently. It's very factual, and that's it.
Yep.
All right. What's the right term length for these contracts?
There is no right term length. It depends on your situation, I think, and what you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah. How about, what is the best move that a buyer can make?
Get the RECO guide. I mean, if the agent's not giving it to you, ask for it, because they should be. Read the form, know what you're signing, ask the questions, and find a realtor that fits what you want out of an agent.
So you're not required to sign a buyer representation agreement before seeing a property, but work with an agent that you know, you like, you trust, and who's going to give you the documents, and ask the right questions before you sign.
And before you sign, just make sure you're asking the right questions that we outlined in this episode. Just make sure you know what you're signing. Read through the contract. Make sure you have it in advance. You can read through it. Don't sign it. Sign it right before you write an offer, but make sure you have time to actually read it. Don't just click the buttons on DocuSign. And if you have any questions, we're always free to chat to. We'll see you in the next one.